In the first two parts of this video, looking at how your organization can start to innovate its way out of a crisis, we explored the first three critical moves you need to make. You need to know your users and focus on their needs. You need to adopt a system of natural selection, so winning ideas are allowed to emerge. And you also need to coordinate the action of people so you can turn great ideas into valuable innovation. And you do that by getting the right people on board, which means focusing on their attitudes as well as their aptitudes. But people also need a common sense of purpose to make sure they're pulling in the right directions. And an effective way of providing direction is to set clear missions. Now, the concept of setting missions comes from the military, and ideas from the military are often useful for business because they share two key characteristics. There is competition with others, and there's uncertainty about what will happen, as we can't be sure how others will act next. Now, military strategists have long known that it isn't wise to fight the next war with the tactics you used in the last one. Situations evolve, and you have to adapt. Therefore, military strategists develop doctrines for helping them operate in uncertain and changing conditions. One of the most successful of these doctrines, or set of principles, was developed by a Prussian officer during the Napoleonic Wars. Karl von Clausewitz is sometimes called the father of modern strategy in the West, but due to his early death, his work was left unfinished. Yet his disciples, von Moltke and von Schlieffen, developed Clausewitz's ideas further. What they created was one of the most successful doctrines for any group of people who must work together in a confusing or threatening environment. And despite being a military doctrine, there was very little that was exclusively military about their ideas. Their doctrine was built on four key organizing principles that any business today could adopt. The first was to set a mission. This is an explicit contract between superiors and subordinates about the direction they are all meant to be heading in. The second principle is to focus on the mission. This means that whatever course of action helps you meet your mission best is the right course of action. And once you've identified that course of action, there's no need for excessive further debate. The third principle is intuitive feel. The Prussians believed that in the fog of war, the right path is not always clear. Therefore, sometimes you're going to have to trust your instincts about next steps. If a move feels right, then make it. And if it is right, then you've gained a time advantage over rivals who are probably still analyzing the situation. If the move isn't right, then course correct quickly and then learn why it was wrong. By making moves intuitively, you become like a chess player who is capable of making several moves to every one that the opponent makes. This means you are always acting and learning quicker than your rivals, which is a source of real competitive advantage. And the fourth principle, the one that makes all the other three principles work, is mutual trust. In the Prussian doctrine, everyone was encouraged to challenge anything they thought was holding them back from successfully completing the mission. But this required trust. Subordinates had to trust that their superiors wouldn't punish them for challenging ideas. And superiors had to trust that subordinates were only challenging their ideas and not their authority. Trust was built through recruitment and training, and it was so effective that everyone felt they had the right people around them. The success of the Prussian doctrine was perhaps most evident in the Blitzkrieg victories at the start of World War II. Now, of course, we condemned the German state at that time, but that doesn't mean businesses today can't learn from their military's successful organizing principles. Because Blitzkrieg was a series of stunning victories based on rapid action that was difficult to defend against. And that's exactly what becoming a mission-oriented organization can help you deliver. So let's have a look at how we might apply these principles in businesses today. Here is the basic map we looked at in part 1. It's of customers who need to drill a quarter-inch hole for different reasons. Let's look at just one of those needs in a bit more detail. The new need more people have for setting themselves up to work from home in a post-COVID world. We assume that people with this need are looking for some design ideas. For example, on how to maximize their space at home or soundproof a room. As this is a new need, we think there's some uncertainty about it. Therefore, we're going to put some pioneering people to work on this, the type who thrive on this sort of challenge. We'll create a small team with a clear and actionable mission, such as find out whether potential customers are looking for design ideas and whether there's a gap on the market we could meet. We'll set a tight deadline for this, perhaps a couple of weeks, as we don't want to overcommit until we are sure it's worthwhile and the budget we give them will reflect this caution. But we then leave our team of pioneers to get on with it, because we trust them. If, in a couple of weeks, we're not satisfied with their progress, we'll simply stop funding this and reassign the people to other ongoing missions. If, however, they come back with something promising, we can proceed. This might mean hiring in some expertise to help us take this forward. Now, we may have that expertise inside the organization already, but if not, we're going to need to recruit it in, either as new hires or on a contract basis, and have someone check the qualifications of those who apply. We're going to make this the mission of Team 2, a team of settlers, as there should be some reasonable certainty about how to do this. Our other assumption is that potential customers are going to be looking for a place to see the new design ideas. So we'll probably need some kind of showroom, which will also probably need some expertise to set up. So we'll add that to the list of capabilities Team 2 needs to hire for. We're going to put another small team of settlers on this. Their mission will be to figure out what type of showroom is needed, online or offline, a hybrid or something interactive. And to do that, Team 3 is going to have to coordinate their activity with Teams 1 and 2. And Team 4, a team of town planners who are probably already responsible for some physical and online spaces the retailer has, like a store or a website. We're going to ask them to look into repurposing some of those assets for our new design showroom. However, we don't want Team 4 working directly with Team 1, as town planners and pioneers are very different types of people who often clash when forced to work together. Therefore, we have the settlers in Team 3 coordinating activities with them, as they are usually able to work equally well with those building the business of tomorrow as well as those maintaining the business of today. If Team 4 are already managing such assets, it should not be a problem for them to also deal with the payment system our new showroom will eventually need. But they might need another team to handle the security protocols for a specialized site or location. And Team 5 will use some shared components, like cloud and contracts, that are probably being dealt with by a shared services team, but we'll leave those off our map for now. As you can see, we have been able to quickly set multiple missions for teams, and we can now invite them to challenge this map. They can tell us what we've got wrong or what we're missing. This challenge helps us deepen everyone's understanding of what needs to be done, so teams can now focus on how best to achieve their mission. And for that, they're going to need to use appropriate methods, because not all methods work well across all parts of the map. Let's explain. The team of pioneers working on the left of the map will probably be doing things themselves in-house. And for that, they may be using agile-like methods, because those methods are great for experimenting at low cost. The teams of settlers in the middle of the map might be using commercial off-the-shelf products. Or if they're building it themselves, they might use something like Lean, because that method is great for continual improvement. While the team of town planners on the right of the map might be outsourcing lots of things, like payment systems, to utility-like providers, so you only pay for what you use. Or they might be adapting things themselves with Six Sigma, because that method is great at providing a more reliable service. The important thing to remember is that no single method fits every situation. It might make it easier to manage teams if everyone is using the same method, but this is not the mission-oriented approach. You want to manage the outcomes of the team's work, not the inputs. So let your people choose the most appropriate methods for completing their missions, and monitor their progress in real time with short, regular status updates using maps as the agenda. As a manager, you will occasionally have to step in when teams have trouble interacting with each other. but there should be significantly less human resources issues to deal with because you have now provided your people with increased levels of purpose by setting clear missions, autonomy by letting them choose the methods they think are most appropriate, and the opportunity for teams to develop mastery by using their intuition to complete their mission. And as a modern, forward-thinking, mission-oriented organization, one that works with its people to make good things happen, you will more easily attract good people who want to work in such a forward-thinking organization. Therefore, if you want to innovate your way out of a crisis, your fourth move is to start setting clear missions for teams. And your fifth move is to let your teams get on with meeting the mission's aims while you monitor progress in real time. Don't forget, you can get free workbooks of all the principles explored on this map by emailing us your feedback on this video to contact@powermaps.net.